We're now watching Germany's first goal against Hungary, and the play starts with an underlap. Because that Germany player is asking for the ball in that free space, the possessor of the ball can now access the middle. The movement happens, he drags 3 defenders with him, and the ball can connect into the middle. The ball connects and the Germany player sees right away that the possessor of the ball has little to no space because the pressure will close in on him right away. So he needs what? Another movement of the ball, an underlap, which is what happens right here. An underlap to drag because the defenders closed in on the possessor of the ball. So let's rush to ask for the ball in the free space. Because the defenders close in on the possessor of the ball, all defenders went to the ball, then we need a movement of the ball that asks for the ball in the free space. Ball received into the free space, the control wasn't the desired one, the ball escapes from him, but he sees that the ball is still available for him to fight. A player only quits when the ball is out of the field. Until then, you fight for every ball, you believe in every play. And then he connects a pass back for a finish into the goal. We can see here clearly the intensity of the movements of the ball to ask for that ball in the free space and the proper timing to receive it properly. We can see it again too. Ball controlled on left foot, and then comes the movement of the ball to be able to control far away from the defenders that are all rushing towards the ball possessor. Germany's second goal, Gundogan is too close to the play. He separates and then he looks for that space in the middle of the box where it's free, the free space that the defenders are leaving free because they're going towards the ball. Look at that, all the defenders are attracted towards the ball. Gundogan is looking for that free space in between the lines of the defenders to be able to finish the ball into the net. One thing to highlight here is when the play starts, the first pass is a pass to the left foot to control forward right away. Left foot, control forward, face the goal right away. On the first touch, the player is facing the goal. Unfortunately, he has Gundogan in front of him, so he needs to get away from that zone and access the play on the left. But then Gundogan is free into that space in the middle of the box as a result of the defender's movements. Scotland's first goal against Switzerland. Dribbling and dribbling. Player's gonna dribble the ball until he cannot dribble anymore and until he drags the opponent towards him the most possible. Keeps dribbling, another touch. All the touches are calculated, and then when he approaches the opponents, the touches are closer to his body. When you want to accelerate in a large space, you can take longer touches, but once you approach the box and you approach defenders, your touches need to be closer to your body, as the attacker is doing here right now. Once he fixes the opponent and drags the opponents towards him, he makes the pass to the overlapper. The overlapper controls stopping the ball back into the box and trying to find options in the entrance of the box since all the defenders went towards the goal, and that's where he finds the finisher to put it into the net. Switzerland's tying goal comes from a pressure, a mistake from Scotland team trying to pass back to safety, and a first touch finish from the Switzerland player. It's his merit. Again, the amount of confidence you have to have those shots. My question to you watching this, if you're a player, are you training this confidence? Are you training your ability to decide the game when all odds are against you, or when the play isn't that clear, but you trust your skills and you trust your capacity to decide the game? Are you training that too? These guys are. Look at that. Amazing finish. Slovenia's first goal against Serbia starts with a ball from the right to the left. The ball gets stretched on the sides, and then comes the movements of the ball inside the box. The attackers start moving towards the box to move the opponents in free spaces for each other. And there's an overlap coming to help the possessor of the ball. With this overlap, we can understand that this is going to move the defenders and allow for the possessor of the ball to choose either to make the pass or to make the cross into the box. It moves the defenders a little bit and distracts the defender into defending the overlap, which allows for a little window of time for the attacker to make the cross into the box and finish into the goal. Important thing to highlight here is that the play starts from a very good dribbling. Look at that, all the space that the Slovenian player has, and he takes all that space in front of him. Look at that. He forces all the defenders to retreat while he carries the ball himself forward. His teammates is dragging this defender with him, which means that this defender cannot go towards the possessor of the ball, which allows the possessor of the ball to keep dribbling even further forward. That's the importance of that movement of the ball from his teammates. We can see that he could have dribbled even more and found that advantage even further forwards, but he chose to pass from here. Then, when the ball gets here, we can already see the new Slovenian player getting into the play to help keep developing that play properly, which is the overlap to give more time to the possessor of the ball. That movement allows for the possessor of the ball to have 1 extra second to decide what to do, to make a pass, to make a feint, to make the cross, to cut inside and take the shot from the entrance of the box. Many options he can take from that movement. So it's very important for that player to have seen that and understand that his teammate needs that help and start that movement right away. It is what he does. The touches from the possessor of the ball, they get shorter, they get closer to his body, engages on the 1v1 while making time for the overlap. Look at that, he's clearly timing the overlap, and when the overlap comes and the defender needs to put 1 foot to the right because there's a chance for the overlapper to receive the pass, that foot to the right, because the overlapper can receive the ball there, is what allows the possessor of the ball to make the cross into the box. Serbian's tying goal comes in the last minutes from a set piece from a corner. We can see that this player right here is the one responsible for protecting the goal from the header. But instead of jumping with the player that is going to make the header, he's trying to pull him down. So he's not going into the air to bump his body and take his balance away or try to reach the ball before him. He's trying to pull him down to deny him from jumping. That didn't work because the ball came in a distance that didn't require for that player to jump properly, and the amount of effort that number 2 did to deny him from heading the ball wasn't enough to unbalance him or take him away from there. England's first goal against Denmark starts with a mistake from Denmark's player here. Kyle Walker gets the advantage over him and attacks the ball right away, and he doesn't cross right away from here. He takes 1 more touch. This teammate can already receive this ball and finish it, but Kyle Walker still has space to keep dribbling and see what better spaces develop. We cannot rush our decisions just because we are near the goal. We need to be patient and get the most advantage that we can out of every play. That's why he takes more touches here and waits for better movements. Once he gets here, he sees the space on this second post, and that's where he tries to connect the ball for the incoming teammate. He clearly tried to connect the ball on the second post, but it deflected on an opponent and got left in the entrance of the small box for Harry Kane. Again, understanding the timing from Kyle Walker to take that touch and delay the play here, make a pause on the play to make timing for something to happen on the second post. Now we can see what Kyle Walker was seeing on the second post clearly. This is what Kyle Walker was trying to make time for. All those movements here would then just become a distraction for Kyle Walker to access the free space on the other side. All the movements off the ball that attract the opponents are distractions for us to play into the free space where our teammate is attacking. Denmark's tying goal starts from a bad clearance from the English team, ends up with a Denmark player recovering the ball in the English field, controlling with the left foot, attracting an opponent towards him with a feint, brings the opponent towards him, frees the space for his teammates to take 1 touch and take the shot from the outside of the box, despite the fact that all the defenders from England are trying to accumulate players here in the middle to try to block this. The shot's still connected. Great confidence, great decision-making from the Denmark player to call the responsibility from himself to take the shot from the outside of the box with 6 English players in front of him to tie the game for his nation. 1 decision with 6 opponents in front of him. Great confidence. We're now watching Spain's goal against Italy. It's an own goal. The ball starts switching from the right to the left, and Cucurella controls on the left thigh because it came from the right, so he can open his body and look towards the goal right away after the control. Controls and looks towards the goal. And you can see here his teammate is opening, separating himself from the opponent. You can see Spain's attacker separating himself from the opponent so he can control on the back foot and look towards the goal as soon as he controls the ball. The underlap happens, and then the Spanish player cuts to the right to offer that cross and the first wave of movements from the Spanish players into the box. But he's gonna cut here with a feint to try to take advantage from a second wave of movements or a cross in the first post, in the middle of the box, or in the second post in the second moment. He makes the feint, cuts again, and now those players that made the first movement are a little harder for him to access. He can only access, for example, the captain here on the first post, and in the middle of the box, if he wants to access someone, he needs to access someone that is available for the second wave of movements. This is the only player that can attack that space if the possessor of the ball is willing to put the ball there. That's not the case. He puts the ball on the first post, the ball gets deflected from the first post, and unfortunately for Italy, deflected into the goal. We're now watching Slovakian's first goal against Ukraine. It starts on a throw-in. The player makes a feint before the first touch and puts the ball in the box right away on the first touch. On the second post, the entire Ukrainian team is focusing on the middle of the box and the first post. The player on the second post is free to head into the box. We're now watching Ukrainians tying goal. Comes from a counterattack. The player with the ball dribbles, and the player without the ball makes a movement off the ball. We can see the movement off the ball from the striker to bring defenders with him and allow for the possessor of the ball to keep dribbling forward until he drags one defender towards him. And then he frees another space for another movement off the ball. He keeps taking his space. We can see how the movements from the striker attracted the defender towards him. The pass happened in a non-advantageous situation. That's why the striker needs to control backwards and allow for the entire Slovakian defenders to readjust. So how could the Ukrainian player take more advantage from this? Fix more and dribble further more into the goal. He needs to control back, and now the entire Slovakian team is setting up the defenders, but the second post is still free. There's a lot of time to the Ukrainians to think and for the Slovakians to readjust. It wasn't the best attack. They pass back to seize the opportunity there. The Slovakians are bringing their entire team back. There's an overlap on the left side that allows for the ball to connect into the middle of the box. The ball only connects because of the overlap. If there's no overlap on the left, the ball cannot get into this position right here, and the overlapper is the one to cross the ball into the middle. We can see right here in this moment where the play gets stuck. When they pass back, then it's the overlap that clarifies everything again. When the overlap happens, now the pass can connect. That triggers the entire Slovakian team to press. Look at that. Now every player is triggered and there's space in the middle to connect and finish. Now we're watching Ukraine's second goal. It starts with a ball that connects into the middle in between lines to a player that controls on the back foot looking forward right away. It doesn't waste time. First touch, back foot inside of the foot towards forwards towards the goal so I can dribble forwards. His teammates know he needs to keep dribbling and makes a movement off the ball to allow him to keep dribbling. And then there's another movement off the ball from another teammate now to ask for the ball on the back of the defender and stretch the field. If he doesn't receive himself, he's generating space for another teammate to receive behind him. But if he can receive himself, he's generating a goal scoring situation. That's the ball he's asking for, and that's the ball that he's going to receive to make an amazing control. The ball connects, amazing control on the back of the defender. The control needs to be perfect, and it is perfect. And he puts the ball into the net. Austria's first goal against Poland. The ball is into the box from a throw-in. It gets cleared. The player controls back into the end line to get across from there and force the entire Polish team to defend the goal again. but the ball connects on the first post for deflection. The tying goal from Poland starts in a ball that comes to the right, to the winger. There's an underlap to him that allows for him to connect into the box. That movement dragged those opponents and freed that space into the box every time the ball is on the wing. An underlap or overlap is what allows the player on the wing to access the middle of the field or the middle of the box. This is what happened. The ball connected to the second post and then gets deflected back into the middle of the box for a finishing from near the penalty mark into the goal. Austria's second goal comes from a play on the left. The ball connects after a feint off the ball from his teammates to leave the ball to another teammate that controls on the back foot completely free because of that feint off the ball, so he can finish from the end. Two important things to highlight here is, one is the possessor of the ball dribbling the ball until the defender comes towards him and looking for that space to connect the pass in between the defenders, and the highlighted striker from Austria making the movement off the ball that allows to trick the defenders and allow for his teammates to control the ball completely free. We can see the dribbler, the space is shrinking, and we can see the player coming from the other side, the striker coming from the other side and placing himself. Look at him now in front of his teammates. We're looking at that player right there in front of his teammates, and that's where he's gonna ask for the ball and fake the reception of the ball to leave it for his teammates. And with that action, he brings one defender with him and frees the space for his teammates. There you go, and now his teammate can control with a free access towards the goal. Austria's third goal came from a penalty. Not much to analyze here.